I think it's pretty safe to say that this thing right here is outside of my standard wheelhouse. I mean, do you see this thing? It's called the Enya Cyber-G, and it looks hilarious. So let's check it out. Welcome to Get Offset. My name is Emily, and you have such a beautiful smile. Has anyone told you that lately? Well, they should. Yes, Enya sent me this Cyber-G stringless smart guitar, and they're sponsoring this video, but thoughts and opinions are all mine. And let me tell you, I'm gonna have some thoughts. The Cyber-G is obviously a bit of a take on a keytar, but it's definitely not a replacement for a full-sized keytar. I mean, you only have a limited octave range. I think it's about 1.5-ish octaves. Functionally, it reads more like an accordion. In case you don't know how an accordion works, specifically a keyboard accordion, the keys that's on one side are where you play single notes and melodies, and you form chords on the other side. I think they call it the bass button side. I'm really sorry if that's an oversimplification, but that's what I've always been told. The Cyber-G is visibly similar. It has a 20-key keyboard on the key version. You play those with your right hand, and you make chords appear with your left hand. And it's only the chords in any given scale. I'll talk about that later. But there's another module you can use in place of the keyboard module. It comes with the pick version of this, and it's just 12 little notes. And that's really restrictive, but at least they're all in your chosen scale. Again, that's not a ton of notes to work with either way, which is one complaint I've seen consistently about the Cyber-G. Anyway, let's hear it. I'm not a pianist, so I'm going to swap in the pick module, which is very easy. You don't even have to turn the instrument off. Just pull up. Boop. And also, this works as a MIDI keyboard, the actual keyboard module. You have a USB plug. Right there, it's a USB-C plug. You picked that up on the overhead a little bit. I'll plug it into my actual interface in a second. I did want you to hear it unplugged. The pick module does not have USB-C, but you just pop it in. Wait a second. Oh. Anyway, let's go ahead and hear this thing plugged in. I don't know why I felt the need to do that. There wasn't some big reveal or change, but now it's plugged in, and you should be able to hear it through my interface, my DAW. And I can hear it through my monitor speakers. So to turn the Cyber-G on, there is a big button there. That's also your volume. You press and hold to turn on or off, and then you adjust the volume to your liking. There are other buttons I'll talk about in a second. At the top here, you can't really see it very well. We have a USB-C plug, and we have a headphone output and the 1/4-inch input, output, right there. So we've already determined that the pick pad definitely works. The pick pad, pick module, whatever you call it. The 1 and the 4, so the 1 and the 4 are lit a little bit brighter. I know you can't see that very well, but I can see it really clearly. It's a nice little indicator. You can kind of see it down there. It's nice, but I have a few problems with the pick pad that I'll talk about later. Let's go ahead and hear the chords. I haven't taken the stickers off of mine. Normally, if you take the sticker off, it's just like these, you can see these light up. But I still have the chord names on mine in the C scale. On the side, it has general Roman numerals. This is actually a lot harder to see on the camera than I was expecting it to be. So you'll always have the Roman numerals at the top. That is the 1 through 7 on the C major scale or whatever scale you're using. It even has the 7th is diminished, which is a nice attention to detail and correct. The chords play for an entire measure. You don't have to hold them down. In fact, I recommend not holding them down because you can easily trigger the chord twice back to back if your finger shifts and it doesn't sound good. But here's what the chords sound like. practice to get the timing right. Obviously, mine was really far from perfect. I found you want to hit them either exactly on the beat or just a little bit before. I'd err on the side of early, otherwise you might have an awkward gap where there are no chords. But let me see if I can do the thing where it kind of plays twice sometimes. And it won't stay sustaining if you hold it down, which is another reason I don't really recommend holding it down. The problem is it feels like there's like two buttons underneath almost. I'm gonna take the sticker off. Yeah, there's two buttons on some of them. I think that's a braille situation almost. All right, yeah, it's that actually makes me a little upset. There's no braille or anything to help you indicate where you are on the pick pad, but there is, which, to be clear, it's great that it's up here because then you can feel around up here a little bit, because you can run without putting any pressure. You can run your finger up and down without triggering it. So you can just stare at your right hand if you really need to. So there you go, I guess. To change the key, because right now we're in C, there's a button at the top here that you can press up or down. You can see the lights changing, but you can also hear it. Let's get that back up, hopefully to see. Sounds correct. Yeah, I'm not sure what the lights represent really, other than something is changing, but like, there you go. That clearly works just fine. Let's say you don't like the tempo, because that is pretty slow. This is one of the reasons I kept the sticker on before. Down here, it is written on the side, but you won't be able to see it. It says fill, tap, drum. So you can start a drum beat that you can play along to, and you can tap in the middle to change the tempo. It feels like there's also a bass track happening, which is weird. If you select the chord off the beat, it doesn't feel like it's helping you at all. Let me turn that off. It just felt like you kept getting farther away from where you wanted to be, which is a problem. I almost think the drums should follow you a little bit, because it's hard to play to them. I understand why they don't. I fully understand why they don't, and maybe they shouldn't. But something should be adjusting to help you stay in tempo with the chords. I feel very strongly about that, just because this is hard to play. I don't know how y'all feel. Let me know in the comments. All the way down here, where there's a little Enya logo and another sticker, I left on all the stickers, you can change the strumming pattern. So that's the second strumming pattern. I find it a little bit more difficult to play well. That's probably a bit of a skill issue, but it is livelier. I think it's because it's so percussive that makes it a little bit more difficult. Versus I tried for a while. I really couldn't get that one to work for me. It's, again, probably a skill issue on my part. Okay, so we've talked about the chords up here, the strumming patterns there, where there's also a battery indicator and some other stuff that I don't really want to get into. Tempo and drums here. And here we have octave stuff. So you can send the pitch pad up octaves. And I don't know how well you can see that the light colors are changing as well. So that's green. That looks like a yellow. Kind of a pear color. Green. Blue. Still blue. And then we've run out of octaves apparently. And you can change the sound of the pick pad with this little paddle. So I ran out of notes. I can't play Take Me Out to the Ball Game on this. You know, speaking of the pick pad, I find it extremely difficult to both change the chords with my left hand and use the pick pad with any accuracy on my right hand. On either hand, actually, it's really, really tough. The thing about an actual keyboard is that with skill, you don't have to look down at the keys because you can feel them. You cannot feel this pick pad. Again, there isn't Braille or something similar to tell you where you are. And I think that's a pretty major miss. Yeah, sure, you can put like a sticker on it or something so you can find the one or whatever other keys you want to find. But it's like weird that they would put Braille up here and not also down here. Another problem I have with the pick pad is it's not... There's no weight to it. There's no velocity. It's just, this is the volume. And that's the attack also. I feel like it would have been, I understand it would have been more expensive and harder, but to have something that like where you can lean into a note a little bit more, or you can touch it in a different spot to get different volume, just so you can have some semblance of dynamics. I think that would be really, really cool. So let's swap the keyboard in. This is absolutely the superior way to play the Cyber-G. Not only can you feel where your notes are thanks to the raised black keys, but the touch sensitivity works way better, so you have improved dynamics. Also, you don't need to know how to play more than the white keys. I will show you that in a second. See, are you gonna light up? I did it. Very nice. By the way, I have affiliate links to this in the video description, including one for Amazon. It doesn't cost you anything extra to use my affiliate links to buy gear, snacks, house supplies, etc. However, I get a portion of each sale shared with me, so it's a great way to support this channel doing things that, let's be honest with ourselves and each other, we were probably going to do anyway. So obviously there's no little like flippy pad kind of thing to change the sound, but there's little arrows. Okay, so that's the end. A lot of very soft sounds. Horn. Cool. I actually kind of like the bass. And there's an electric guitar sound, of course. That's crazy. Not only is there a lot more to work with regards to dynamics, you can hit pinch harmonics. But here's that other cool thing I was telling you about. So right now we're in C. Nice. But what if we want to go to a different key? There's one. That doesn't work at all. But if we hit this round button right there, So this is a C now, and that's a true C. And now this is the one of whatever scale I'm in. So I can just play the white keys as if they were, as if I was playing in the C scale. So all the notes that you need are right there. They don't have the letters on them or the numbers on them to help you indicate which position in the scale. But if you can find that C, you are golden. You're totally fine. And it works like this, but with more functionality. So far, we've been playing this in solo mode, but there's another mode that I kind of like more via this mode button right there on the top. So, notice? You press that button. Nothing happens now when you press up here. Nothing happens when you press down there. But when you do both at the same time, you get a strummed bar. This is generally great if you have something that has a lot of chord changes, or you just don't like the timing, or if you're just not good at the timing, if you just want to sing and play. I find it a lot easier to play with accuracy with regards to timing, when to hit the notes, when you're in that solo mode. You don't have that melody feature, but you have something else that's kind of cool, arpeggios. And again, dynamics. That's pretty nice. It even makes this fun little string noise when you change the chord selection, which I think is pretty cute. You hear that? I don't know why they put that in, but it is kind of fun. By the way, if you're not subscribed, you might be missing out on videos you'd like, so go ahead and subscribe. It can't hurt, right? Anyway, those are the big points of the Cyber-G. Despite looking absolutely bananas, this is not a complicated instrument. So obviously, we need to know, who is this for? Listen, I don't know if I'd go so far as to call it a toy, but I struggle to justify this as an instrument for musicians outside of two use cases. The first is honestly busking. The Cyber-G packs up super small. I mean, here's the carrying case. You can take this thing absolutely anywhere, and it gets pretty loud. I unplugged it so you can hear how it sounds when it's just, again, unplugged. It's a lot smaller than bringing a guitar, keyboard, or an accordion, which might make it tempting for a busker. It will definitely take serious practice to get used to this thing, and even more to get good, but I'm sure there are people who will be able to make some incredible music with the Cyber-G in live situations like busking. The second is as a songwriting tool, a sort of limited songwriting tool, but a songwriting tool nonetheless. You have your most used chords up here on your left hand, and you can work on melodies with your right. It has a headphone out, so you can do this completely silently, which is great, honestly. And again, it packs up smaller than any travel guitar I've ever seen, so if you're traveling for any reason, you can still work on some tunes without sacrificing too much suitcase space. Other than musicians, this is a pretty cool tool for people who want to play music but haven't learned an instrument, or have only taken a few piano classes in their lives, which is honestly puts us a little bit more towards the educational tool / educational toy side of things. And that's totally fine. A lot of people want to have the experience of playing music but don't have the time or energy to actually sit down and learn how. If that sounds like you, this will probably scratch that itch. If you put any weight behind Amazon reviews, a lot of folks who seem to have gotten the Cyber-G as an educational toy / tool really like that the app has a decent song library. So take with that what you will. And yes, there's an app. I know I didn't get into it. Sorry. The list of who this isn't for is a lot longer than who it is for. Again, this is not a keytar, so it won't fill that need for the vast majority of people who want a keytar. The very tiny keyboard seals that fate. I mean, again, you saw I couldn't even play Take Me Out to the Ball Game on that thing because I need to get an octave above the 2, and I just can't do that on this. Not in C, at least. So, I mean, if I started down here, you get the idea. And frankly, the cost was a big shock to me. The pick model, which you saw first, officially listed about $400, but coupons on Amazon as of filming take the price down to $359. The keyboard model lists at $500. Amazon discounts reduced that to $434 after an 8% off deal and a 25% off coupon. That's not cheap, even with the discounts, for something which, in my opinion, is best used as a vaguely educational toy. A very fun toy, to be completely honest, and a toy that I am absolutely giving to my niece who digs music. But yeah, a toy. If you liked this video but are more interested in an actual instrument, check out the video on the screen where I demo the Enya Inspire smart guitar, which I personally loved. Thanks for watching. Thanks for understanding. Until next time, my name is Emily. Goodbye.